What's up, guys? This is Nick for the New England Wildlife.ning.com with the Sunday morning weather update. Of course, we're looking towards another beautiful day of spring-like warmth as this new warm air pulls in. We started off the day a little chilly, but that's going to change as we go through the day today. Highs in a lot of spots will be reaching the 50s and 60s through southern New England. Now, the cold air is going to stay and lodge further north, so I think northern New England might still, stay stubbornly chilly. But even then, I think we're on for a great day. I'm going to post today's high temperatures map in another blog post below this video window. But so that's basically what I'm looking at for highs today. You can check out the map below this video window. For tomorrow, it looks like, let's take a look at the temperature plot. Another great day on tap. Highs in a lot of spots, probably reaching the 50s and 60s once again. Now, what happens here is I'm pretty sure I left something out on the forecast, but what's going on is before I blab on about the high temperatures, I'm just gonna give you, that was basically the short version of the high temps, but much of my meteorological attention has been turned towards, of course, the storm coming up, possibly mid to late week next week. But unfortunately, the models have just been bringing this storm in a lot with a warmer solution, and that could mean that although they're bringing in the precipitation, it could be falling as rain. By the time we get to OZ on Wednesday, notice how we're talking about a lot of warm air certainly enlodged over us. So what about the precipitation? Yes, they're bringing the precipitation in. I'm going to get to the temps here in a little second, but anyway, let's take a look at what's going on. Let's zoom in the map. I guess we can't do that. But anyways, we go through time. Storm is developing out in the Midwest. Comes into New England. Precipitation spreads all across New England on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of next week. New storm develops offshore. You can see how it bombs. So this would be a pretty significant snow producer for a lot of folks if we were ever able to get the temps in the right area. So how do the temps fare for this event? Let's take you out to Thursday, and it's 30s and 40s across a lot of southern New England. Cold air is still enlodged further north, much like we saw for the weekend. And what's happening is we're seeing what we call, as a meteorologist, an omega block developing. And an omega block is I know you've probably never heard of it, and I'm going to get to what it is in a second. But I think the omega block that we've seen for a while now will actually we could get some cold air damming into it. What do I mean? Well, an omega block it's essentially, and I want to show you the 500 millibar pattern vorticity map, which will also give you a good idea of what's going on with the omega block. And I can take you out to Thursday, and here's Friday. So you can see how basically there's a lot of vorticity up over James Bay, so that's indicative that there's an omega block. And an omega block is essentially, what it is you're talking about, instead of a big cold dome over a lot of folks, it's a relatively mild dome. And a mild dome is usually something that turns our storms into rain. So essentially, it's a mild dome, an omega block, kind of like a cold dome, but it's a mild dome, dome over us. And whenever we get an omega block developing over New England, it usually means that you see your precipitation coming in as rain. So at this point, we've had an omega block for a while now. We just had two big storms right at the end of February. Both of them were mostly rain for a lot of folks. But let's just take a look at the ensemble mean. If you followed my discussions for a while now, you know I'm a big fan of the ensemble mean. And so let's take a look at the ensemble mean for the time period that we're looking at. And so here we go. By the time we get to Friday, what happens here is you can see early in the period, here's the omega block over James Bay, relatively warm. But what happens here is you got extreme cold over Siberia and over the Bering Sea. And you've got a ridge with building warmth over the contiguous United States. That warmth and the ridge basically brings that cold air up over northern Canada through Nunavut, I believe it's pronounced in Canada, and then it basically brings it into the Omega Block. That's cold air into a warm Omega Block. What does that mean? That means that the Omega Block, which is kind of breaking the rules of meteorology as a warm high pressure system over us, turns into a cold high pressure system over us, and you see the cold air just damming into it. You go through time, look at your cold air build right into that Omega Block, and that means that by the time we get to the time period we're looking for, this is Friday, the Omega Block we could see some cold air or plenty of cold air damming into it. So that would raise the chances for snowfall right now, and it would get you a lot more excited about the event than what you would see by looking at the current radar showing, yeah, it's mostly rain. But I think, with the cold air damming in, there's a good chance that we could see some cooling through New England by the time this thing comes through. So that's basically the way I'm looking at things right now. Anything exciting to look at in the long range? Well, not really, no. But one thing I do want to say is I've sent out several tweets, I believe, saying that the models are showing a relatively spring-like pattern, and spring-like does not mean everybody warms up. That's going to be the case this weekend. They're still showing some, cold waves coming through, even through the middle and late months of March. Anybody remembers the March 1993 superstorm? It happened on March 13th. Okay, so, just because it's getting late in the season does not mean that we're going to be done with our snowfall events, although I think the chances will be lowering. Look at that, the ensembles showing a big dip in the cold air by the time we get to Monday. So that's basically the way I'm thinking of things right now. Plenty of exciting things to look at. Warmth this weekend, perhaps a potential another storm coming up next week. And even then, plenty of storm coverage to go around with this spring-like pattern that we're going to be seeing. All right, that's it for now. See you guys later. It's Nick for the New England Weather Life.ning.com.